Hello, welcome to Stretford Paddock. We're here for the live team news for Man United against Norwich. It should be coming out in about 3 minutes. We managed to get on live before the team news actually comes out. Harry Maguire is going to be the interesting one, I think, to look out for. Obviously, no Pogba, no McTominay, no Bruno Fernandes. Not yet. Aubameyang red card. Yeah, that's just happened. Aubameyang's just been sent off for a pretty tough tackle on someone's ankle there. The team should be coming out any minute now. Let me know in the comments who you want to see in the team. Jamie Everett Hogg, that's a nice name, saying Maguire has to start. Well, if he's fit, he has to start. But would it not be worth just like resting him anyway? Not resting him, but put him on the bench. If he's, we've seen already this season, Maguire and Pogba playing with injuries and then getting injured even more. So is it not worth just resting him? Norwich are bottom of the league. I know we've struggled against bottom of the league teams, but would it be worth just giving him a break maybe just to make sure he's fit? I don't know. I think people will be a bit upset if he plays this game and then gets injured halfway through. I think that's the main one to look out for. Obviously, the midfield's going to be an interesting one as well. We've seen Andreas at 6, we've seen Andreas at 10, we've seen Fred in there, we've seen everyone in there. So I think whoever's in midfield, Matic maybe. Interesting. Is anyone else having problems with the stream? Yes, I think we are. I don't actually know what's going on with it at the minute, but let me know if we are actually live or not. Are we live? No. Are we not live? Am I live?
No, you are live.
Right, okay. Okay, I am live, apparently. It's not started. It's not loaded yet, you wet wipe, according to someone. Won't load. Watch stream. Is anyone else having problems with the stream? Right, we're live now. Let's do this again. Bloody hell, third time lucky, eh? Right, the team should be out in 1 minute, so we've got here just in time. The main thing we're looking out for today is, will Harry Maguire play? It's an interesting one. He's got this hip injury that looked like he might be out for like 2-3 months, and then all of a sudden it was 10 days, and then all of a sudden it might be live now. So it might be playing now. So I don't really know what kind of injury goes from a 3-month diagnosis to a 6-day diagnosis. But it looks as though that's the type of injury Maguire's got. Do you think we should push him to play, even if he's still got a bit of a tweak, got a bit of a problem? Surely it's worth. I know it's Phil Jones, but Phil Jones has played for United for 10 years. He knows what he's doing. Surely he's worth playing over risking having Harry Maguire out for the more difficult games. Obviously, we've got Europe coming up in the next sort of month or so. So if we play him tonight and he gets injured again, as we've seen from Pogba, people will be upset. Anyway, here's the team. And Maguire is playing. So obviously we didn't trust Phil Jones. The team is De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, Williams. So he seems to have cemented that left back spot over Luke Shaw. Then we've got a midfield of Fred, Matic and Andreas. And Juan Mata starting for the first time in a while. On the right-hand side, Marcus Rashford on the left and Martial up front, as you'd expect. A few interesting decisions there. Obviously, Williams is the first one. Luke Shaw didn't look good against Arsenal at all, did he? I think it was the Arsenal game, wasn't it, when he just sort of didn't really do much of anything. In the Everton game as well, giving the ball away a couple of times for the goals, and it seems as though Williams' consistency and sort of just intensity is paying off, and he's in the team again. I'll go through the team again while we wait for the graphic to come on the screen. We've got De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, Williams. You could probably say that's the first choice sort of back five these days, isn't it? Maguire, of course, the key man there, coming back from that injury that looked like it would keep him out for at least a month, and he's back in a week. Then the midfield, Fred and Matic holding, presumably in that sort of deep line 2 that we've seen him in, with Andreas Pereira at number 10. And then Mata, again, an interesting inclusion on the right-hand side, and then Marcus Rashford on the left, Tony Martial up front. What do you think to the team? Floating Man says, yes, Williams. Matthew Gordon says, is it a diamond? I don't know. I doubt it. Or it might be. We don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see when they get on the pitch, won't we? Because we've seen Mata play at 10. We've seen Mata play on the right. We've seen Pereira play at 10. We've seen him play at 8 and at 6. So it's going to be difficult to know exactly what's going on until we come out. Floating Man says, Mata, for fuck's sake. Well, I think if he's going to be effective in any sort of game, it's probably going to be Norwich at home. He looked good in Europe a few weeks ago, and hopefully he can sort of put in one of those performances where his passing and his touch and his ball work is the thing that can break the team down. Obviously, we don't have too many players in the team that can cut through the lines and make through balls, and you can get a goal as well. No Romero? No Romero. Let's go through the subs just so we can go over that. Grant, there you go, no Romero. As we see the first 11 on the screen there, we'll go through the subs. Dallow, Jones, Shaw, so 3 defensive subs. And then we've got Gomez, James and Greenwood. Not much. That front 3 in terms of subs is very young, isn't it? Gomez, James, Greenwood. Not many options off the bench in terms of experience, but I suppose that's what you get when you play Mata. We're looking for that experience from the start there. Anyone else see Pereira in Titan Season 2? Don't know what that means. Absolutely not. Mata middle right. Yeah, maybe. We don't know really, do we? We've seen him play on the right-hand side. We've seen him play at 10. Why Mata on wing? I don't know, Joel. Greenwood needs minutes. Yeah, I'm surprised. I would have been... I thought from what Solskjaer was saying that we were going to see Greenwood play, but obviously not. Oh, see you later, mate. See you later, Adam. Adam McCullough joining us for the team news. What's the score prediction?
7-0.
7-0 to Norwich, which you'd think he'd support United, but he's gone for Norwich today. No, 7-0 United. Decent team. Yeah, I think it is a decent team. Greenwood needs minutes. Yeah, I am surprised that we didn't see Greenwood. We've not heard any rumours of injury or any problems with Greenwood, so I thought we would probably see him play. I think he just wants that creative kind of side of Mata. He's probably our best sort of passer of the ball, especially in those small, tight areas. We've seen throughout his career, obviously, that he's a bit of a wizard with the ball. So hopefully this is the sort of game that he can excel in and create some chances for Martial and Rashford, who's obviously bang on form, 17 goals this season. And I think if you can get one today, that should hopefully be enough, although clean sheets have been very few and far between this season. I think United need to score first. That's the key today, especially with that defence. I think United have looked good. It's weird because we look bad defensively when we're attacking. I know this is kind of obvious, but when we've been sort of tasked with sitting back and defending leads, I think generally we've looked relatively stable. We've got a decent defensive position when we're sat back, but it's in the transitions when people are isolated one-on-one, quick strikers, strong strikers, seem to be United's biggest weakness at the minute. BPH production going 2-0 United. More Fernandes news, can't help but get excited. There hasn't been particularly huge news breaking this morning, but obviously last night's news and yesterday's news was that United are obviously in talks for Bruno Fernandes, but yeah, there hasn't been much of an update today. Yeah, get your score predictions in. Mata will come off on 60 minutes as usual. Yeah, probably. I think both Dan James and Greenwood at their current level and with their current skill sets might be a perfect substitute to bring later on, especially Dan James with his pace if we're trying to counter-attack and get a goal. Speaking of goals, Arsenal nearly scoring there. Seagull on Bruno, please. We spoke to him yesterday. It looks likely, but obviously you can never be sure. Gomez should play off the bench for Mata. Yeah, Gomez looked sharp against... who was it against when we got the goal the other night? Who was that? Literally. Against City. Obviously helped set up Marcus Rashford for the goal there. Akshar saying 2-0 win for United. We've seen a lot of clean sheet predictions here, which is something that we haven't really managed to keep many this season, but I think... the hope is, if there's any game you can keep a clean sheet in, it's against the bottom of the league at home. But obviously we saw against Watford that's not necessarily the case, is it? 2-1 United, Norwich to score first. That is my worry, that Norwich will score first. We've seen that too many times this season where United first 5 minutes look really good, and then the next 40 minutes look terrible, and then second half look good. So we'll have to see if United can come out of the blocks quickly there, because when we concede first, we do struggle to win, especially this season. 2-0 down, and then we win 3-2. Bloody hell, 2-0 down at home. You don't want to see that, do you? Yeah, Ashley Young. Bit rude. Bit disrespectful. But he's not even in the squad. And actually, this is a good point. I'm glad you brought that up. There was a rumour saying that Ashley Young had said to Solskjaer that he doesn't want to be in any matchday squads again this season, which seems petty and petulant and childish to me, and to the point where it seemed fictional. But Ashley Young isn't in the squad. So, again, it's sort of correlation, not causation, but maybe that there is some truth to that rumour, which surely you wouldn't expect your club captain and a player that's been at the club for nearly 10 years to say, if I'm not playing or if I'm not starting every week, don't involve me in a squad again. That seems a bit childish, but hopefully that's not true. But yeah, he isn't in the squad. No Pookie, yeah, he seems to be injured. Young off to win a title, gotta love him. You know what? That's a good point, isn't it? He might. How come Inter take like all the players that we think aren't good enough for us and then win the league in Italy? I know they haven't won it yet, but they're top of the league at the minute with Sanchez and Lukaku on the books, and it looks like they're going to be adding Ashley Young to that as well. Conte spent some serious money there, or got some good loans and good transfers going there, so he's obviously a good manager, as we saw with him at Chelsea. If we are 2 or 3-0 up, and they bring Gomez on, does that mean anything? What do you mean, does that mean anything? If we are 2 or 3-0 up and they bring Gomez on, does that mean anything? It means that he's come onto the pitch and is going to try and help us score more goals. I don't know what else it could mean. 2-1 win. Do you think Rashford will score 30 goals this season? If I had to bet, I would probably say no, just because I think there's like a mental thing with 30 goals. 30 goals is such a sort of a marker and like a milestone for strikers that I think as you approach 30, the pressure increases and there's a bit more of a kind of I'm going to be a top striker if I get 30 goals. So I think we might see him slow down a little bit. Also, as you get toward the end of the season, if you're still in Europe, you're still in the FA Cup, you're still in the Carling Cup, you're playing against more difficult teams most likely. It's harder to score those goals. There's a bit more pressure. You may be fighting for top 4, fighting for Europe at the end of the season. So I think him scoring at the rate he has been may slow down slightly, but I think he'll get very close. I would expect between 25 and 30 goals from Marcus, but obviously he could surprise me and get over 30. Ollie's doing what's right for the club and not the fans. The Glazers are doing what's wrong for the club but right for them. We need players they don't want to spend to compete. I don't know why Ollie's being lumped in by saying doing what's right for the club, not the fans. Because when you say club, do you mean owners? Because I think the club is the thing the fans support, isn't it? Rather than, maybe you mean the owners. Because I think doing what's right for the club is what Solskjaer's there to do. If you're looking at sort of Man United as an entity and as a team and a club, I think that is what Ollie's job is to do what's right for the club. So I'm not sure why that would be a criticism. And in terms of the Glazers, obviously we think they need to spend more money and do things a slightly different way, obviously. But I think Solskjaer wants to do what's right for the team and what's right for the club, even above what's right for himself sometimes, which I think is maybe slightly naive, but definitely worth praise, because that's the one thing you can never say about Solskjaer, is that he doesn't care. When Mourinho was here, it felt like he was doing this for him. He wanted to win trophies for him, for his catalogue, holding the 3 up, all that stuff. That felt like it was for him. Solskjaer, there's no doubt that he's doing this for Man United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, rather than just Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, as we've seen before. Right, thank you very much for joining me. Let's go over the team news one last time, if we could get that up on the screen. That's De Gea in net, Wan-Bissaka at right back, Lindelof and Maguire coming back from his injury at centre backs. Then we've got Brandon Williams seemingly taking that left back spot from Luke Shaw. Then we've got a defensive pairing potentially of Fred and Matic. We've got Andreas in there as well, and Mata maybe making a diamond, maybe a 4-2-3-1 as we've seen a lot this season. And then we've got Rashford and Martial as probably the most attacking forwards. Rashford probably playing off the left as we've seen there. And we'll go through the subs quickly. We've got Grant, Dalot, Jones, Shaw, no Ashley Young, Gomez, James and Greenwood as our attacking options off the bench. Thank you very much for joining me. We're going to be back 1:45, as we always do, for the watch along. So be sure to join us for that. That should be a bit of fun. We've got Kieran, we've got Alex, we've got me coming on there. So that'll be a fun watch along. Thank you very much for joining me. Joe, recap the team, please. Just did, mate. See you in a bit.